All right, how we doing? Welcome to the After Fish After Show, and we have Weekend Wook with us as always, and we have Ixo with us, and an aspiring Waddy or
Wody,
Woody,
motherfucker. I hate
depending
when you
on who you
say
ask.
that.
Kev
Depending
has to
on you,
pronounce everything wrong.
that's how we
I know,
pronounce
but
it
I
in
know it's
Baltimore.
like a bit to him. Like he doesn't say it, but I can just feel it. I'm like, oh.
It's the way I say things in Baltimore. It's the way we are. Um, let's see. Tomorrow, we've partnered with Helping Friendly Pod. Check them out. 1 o'clock. They got Brian Weinstein from Attendant Bias on. So that should be a really good show. And we'll get into our big stuff a little bit later. So let's start off with let me say last night I was harping on the fact that everything was like 6 minutes until they got to the big jam in the set until Bathtub Gin. So tonight they come out with a 12 minutes Wolfman's and actually got some spaces in it, made some things happen. I'm going to throw it to you, Michael, first. And what you got?
Yeah, they kind of got comfortable right off the bat. I felt like I was thinking about what you said last night, and it seemed like everybody was right there together, which I didn't feel like was the case in the other two nights. And I think that might have partly been the sound on my stream. I don't get a lot of mic on my TV. So I changed some sound settings and it sounds better. So I don't know if that's just
We're going to have to send you a bass tube
better.
to put behind it.
Yeah, I could definitely use better speakers on my TV. What did you think?
Go ahead, Tim.
I first wanted to correct you, Kev. There was like the first set last night had all 6 minute songs, but there were some powerhouses in the second set last night that took me to a different place. So I don't want to be dismissive of that show.
From in front of the soundboard to the ocean? Like
right.
That
that was where I got transported. Was from the middle to the water, having your feet in the water. No, but anyway, we're not talking about last night. Yeah, I thought that was a super strong start to the show. The Wolfman's was well executed. It was a nice, compact, pretty sweet jam. And the Tube Jam, too, is I don't want to like keep jumping ahead, but those two together, I both felt were very similar, compact, like nice little.
They were both 12 minutes, too.
Substantive, fun jams back to back to start the show.
So jump in with either one of them, Mercedes.
I mean, I think Wolfman's is a super fun way to start a show. I have to say, I didn't watch the other two nights of Atlantic City, so I don't really know what was played or how those went. I thought they started out strong, and then I thought the rest of the first set was a little like, I don't know. They lost me with Mercury.
Right. Well, yeah, we're going to get into getting lost there. For Tube, let me say I mentioned something to Tim earlier. I feel like they've become very comfortable with Tube, and Tube has lost its edge that it one time had. Tube doesn't need a bliss jam.
Full funk. It kind of sat there in the funky space, but it didn't go.
It was bliss funk.
Couldn't really get out there.
It was still pretty fucking good because.
It was pretty fucking good. It was not.
This is super anecdotal, but all I know is I was listening to it in the headphones. I was like, "This is fucking pretty good." And then I look down and I see the thread where Kev's like, "This sucks," and my reaction.
I'm not going either.
Like my reaction of like, "You're out of your mind," was the first thing I thought. So it must have been pretty good if I was like, "Dude, you're crazy."
Yeah, I was in the pretty good camp. But on the same time. Tube can get
and they play it too much now. It used to be rare, and like I've said before, I feel like it's a place Trey goes when he doesn't know what to do. Hey, I'm going to play Tube. Everybody loves Tube. Let's do Tube.
I won't say this about every song or every show, I promise, but the Tube at Blossom was better.
There you go.
You're definitely going to say that every time it applies.
And how recently was that? That was a couple nights.
Yeah,
I agree.
Tube at Blossom was better.
Yeah. So, and then we got Mountains of the Mist. I think that there are people who like Mountains in the Mist. So anybody who wants to jump in about it.
It was a beautiful Mountains in the Mist. I'm one of those people, but that's all there is to say. I mean,
it was a beautiful song.
I like Mountains in the Mist. It's a good ballad,
I did think the placement was good. Like
you liked it in the third spot.
Yeah. I think they did that in they put a ballad in the third spot, I think, at MPP. If I could be wrong.
or second.
I'm
I
going
think
off
that
Yeah,
might be
timeline
the
second
now.
or
biggest
third.
Oh, was that second?
And somebody told us that it has something to do with a request list. What show were we on that they were talking about that? Like somebody
I forget
requested
that.
of the
Request list?
yeah.
Well,
Like
I mean, I think people request all the time, but it's not like a guarantee, right? Like I
Right.
think through like Tom or like I know a couple people that know John that like send them shit. Like all the band members get that from friends
Oh,
and
I'm
family
sure.
and stuff. But
I think
yeah, I
on
know
one
what
of
you're
the-
talking about. Somebody
right.
said that there was like a
Yeah.
list here.
that they sent. They did a few of them.
I don't know,
But
the placement's not just it's not. I know we love to use sports metaphors, and you're like, oh, the third spot, like the cleanup after that, But in reality, it depends what those spots are because 12 to 14 minute, great jams to start a show with that energy.
it's like
then
3 or
yeah,
4.
it
Yeah,
was
and
perfect.
it was like 90 degrees still at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
It was so.
It was hot.
Third
hot,
tune
hot.
ballad is
I think it was
understandable.
Drink some
perfect
water.
place tonight.
Everybody drink some water. And then we got into an unstandard ocelot. Had some little extra mustard on there.
Yeah, that was
Good.
solid.
Such a fun groove. Makes you want to dance. They all do. Not all of them, but most of them do. But that especially is a get down with type of song.
Right. It had the jam in it. I don't even think that really saves it for me, but that's just me. Yeah, you're blurry again. What happened?
I don't know, man. I think it's the microphone.
Is it? It's focusing on
The
the mic.
microphone is blurring you.
I'm not
Ew.
blurry. You're blurry.
All right, so I read a couple nights ago, maybe it was even a Blossom or Pine Knob, one of them, I believe, that they were the band was doing parts of Fluffhead during sound check, like running over stuff. I think tonight's performance of Fluffhead was as perfect as you're going to get these days. Mercedes, what you got on that?
Oh, I thought it was great. It was so energetic. I feel like it's been a minute since they played Fluffhead. Like we just had a Yem also
Right.
also at Blossom. Sorry.
Thank you.
How did it compare to tonight? Which
well,
one
Blossoms was better, but
Okay.
still.
Just checking.
Here's my thought on the Fluff tonight. The last 3 before were middle of second set. Tonight's was in the middle of the first set, and I think it worked better there. They were clear-headed. They weren't jamming. They were focused on, let's nail this.
Yeah, the Jones Beach fluff was pretty good, though, as I remember it. Like, I don't think this was the best
One was
fluff.
up tempo,
But it was super well executed, though. I don't know.
And for the Yem, the after jam tonight, I thought was really where it was at.
Yes. So Fluffhead is Fluffhead. They nailed it.
All right, so I'm gonna jump in on Mercury because
jump in on
it's
Mercury.
lost its jam potential recently, and that was the only thing that saved it for me. And
So, somebody said that since the guy jumped up on stage during it, Trey doesn't do the jam anymore.
But then just don't do it anymore because like you used to have to sit through 7 minutes of Mercury and you'd be like, all right, at least I'm going to get a great jam out of it. Now you have to sit through 7 minutes of Mercury just to go to the next song. It's like,
Well, what's it been? 2 or 3 of them without the jam
I know,
part
I'm just
of it?
being sassy because I hate
I don't
love
feel
Mercury.
like they set trends in that amount of time.
That-
Like they'll do a couple of them this way, and then we'll get a couple of them with jams.
Or you end up with an Axela 2 situation where they'll only do it once or twice, and then all of a sudden no more Axela.
No, but see, it depends. It's what people want because 3 Yem jams that go out of the vocal jam into a jam, and it's a fucking trend. People are like, this is the way. But 3 555s that don't fuck or 3 Mercuries that go nowhere, and people are like, oh, it's okay.
Which you guys completely ignored that Norwegian wood tease out of that 555 last night.
It was cool.
Oh, I did not even realize.
They got to stay darker on that jam. That was too bliss too fast, and it doesn't work for that funky bass line. I think then Mike gets,
I
Anyway.
much would have rather they dropped the Mercury, played the gumbo for 12 minutes. Now,
Fuck
there's
yes.
your answer.
100%.
Because it's so quick. You're like, all right, they're gonna jam. Nope, Page is playing his piano outro. We're done. Blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah, Gumbo absolutely went too quickly. It was over too soon.
They don't, and they feel like they do that so often. They give you like a really nice taste. It's like a sampling of Gumbo. It's like you get like
a cup, not a bowl, right?
You're at like a tapas restaurant, and then they forgot a little.
The last one they did. The last one they did was okay, but this one they were out of there, and because I guess they wanted to get a Carini in, because that is Trey's favorite song, I think.
Wait, did you guys notice Trey's voice not hitting it in Gumbo?
On the Fluffhead too. He was.
Yeah, was he losing it or
no? He was trying the higher register.
Yeah, what is that about? Why was he doing that?
Maybe
he's a show
taking vocal lessons. He's trying them out.
Maybe he was told he didn't sing right. Like Tony Rice lost his voice because he never sang right, and maybe singing
I feel
right.
Like he changed the octave or like.
I agree. He has, and he's not quite there yet. But
and it makes him kind of sound like Mike, because that's what Mike sounds like when he's singing, reaching for a note and not quite getting it.
But I mean, I'm happy to indulge him in that kind of thing. Let him do it a dozen times and see if he can get there. And if he doesn't, then put it to bed. But
I mean, it obviously wasn't that big of a deal because I like only half paid attention and noticed it. I was like, wait a second, what the fuck? This is weird.
He was having a lot of fun with his vocal stylings tonight.
Feeling himself. So
Trey having fun is a good thing.
That's true.
All you can ask for. And can I just say that the shirt tonight was MVP of the weekend of all his outfits. That little wave, that was a nice look.
I liked yesterday's shirt, but
I like the flame sunburst one.
Yeah,
that was the trippiest thing, the trippiest shirt on earth. Oh my god, you just stare at his shirt. Anyway,
he's pulling me in. All right, so we got a Carini. Carini went to the place that it seems to always go now, the Bliss Jam.
It didn't only go there though. It got a little dark, and then in the Bliss it got scrubby.
Right. I like that term. Ain't no time to rock. Yeah, thank you. I like that.
Carini is another one we just heard this week. They just played it on Wednesday.
Right. I'm happy with that though.
Yeah, no, I feel like I don't want to regret saying this, but I'm like, people are always happy when Carini comes out. I could hear it more, but then you say that, and soon they'll be busting it out as much as they're doing Character Zero or Sigma Oasis. And
so the question earlier was, are they playing a bunch of songs over and over again? And I think there's a handful that are getting a lot of rotation, but then there's other that are just popping in from here and there, but the ones getting the heavy rotation are a lot of the big names.
Yeah.
Well, there's obviously bust outs, i.e. heavy rotation. Right. I agree. What did you say? It was like 209 or
217, I think is what Scott Marks said.
A lot of fucking songs coming out, but you're right. Like, how many Tubes and Sands and
Freeze
Zeros and Freeze?
Susie's.
Like
Susie
gaps.
Again, right?
Susie's coming out a lot, yeah.
A lot of Susie's hanging out. All right,
but
so
that also really stretches because that used to happen after album releases, the tours that they released albums, they would do that, and those songs got a lot of mileage, like good jams that came out and became jam vehicles because they worked them that way. So if you think of it that way, they are actually kind of giving new life to some of these songs and figuring out different things to do with it, because Trey's ADD as fuck. So if they're going to play the same song twice in a week, he's not going to do it exactly the same, right? So who knows? Maybe this tour could actually have lasting benefits into future tours.
Maybe it's just that they're his favorite song.
Totally. Well, it does, like, you're making such good points, Tim. Like, yes, when a band releases an album, all those songs on that album are in heavy rotation for the next tour. Phish has just never really been a traditional band, although now I do feel myself like understanding where some of the jaded vets are coming from, where it's like, if you were on tour in the 90s when Phish had one, a smaller repertoire of songs, and two was like, playing the same couple,
every bounce,
few, like, yes, exactly, like over and over. I can see how if you're continually doing those tours and hearing those songs, you would get to a point where you're like, I do not want to fucking hear, what is it, Gaiuti again, or like whatever.
Oh yeah, no,
'cause I felt that way
100%.
when they went into
Fucking
Susie
Coyote
and MPP.
again.
I was like, I don't want to hear Susie again. And then I feel like an asshole because I became a fan during 2.0 and Phish wasn't even a
What-
band. So
You know, that's one of
what can you
T's
hear for it?
favorites.
But
That's one of T's favorites. So
And you know, have how many shows you see, or not even like now with webcasts, that also changes it. Because like, Kev, like I'm sure you can relate to this. We've listened to every note of this tour, either
Mhm.
there or because we're doing this show every night.
mhm.
So it's like I used to love catching a sand jam, but having seen it 9 times, already, it's kind of like I don't need it again. Or Free is another one. I felt like last time they played, I was like, all right.
It fucked me up it fucked me up at Merriweather though, because I was like, didn't we see this song at the Man? And it was because I had seen it on a webcast. I was just all this blurred together.
Bottom line is they can play whatever the fuck they want. I don't
Right.
care.
Right.
As long as they're playing, I'm happy.
Definitely.
Yeah, they might play Sound like they did at Deer Creek, and
You
was
never know when you're going to catch
Yeah.
that one.
I'm down for that.
All right, so we're at set break. Thank you for joining us. If you look down, there's a cute little button you can click. And you can like and you can subscribe, and we're going to give a whole big thing about our next moves sooner than later. Helping Friendly Pod tomorrow, Brian Weinstein. On Wednesday, we have Michael Goodman from Eggy coming on. And for the After Phish after show, we're going to have fan sets and Guy Forget Ghost on. So Wednesday is going to
Nailed
be
that pronunciation too, which is
Thank you.
funny. You can't say Wody, but you could say Guy Forget.
Well, for the longest time, I thought it was Guy Forgot, and I just
Yeah.
never said anything until I heard somebody else say it, and I was like, oh.
It's not even forgot, it's forget, but that's okay. It's not just getting it wrong, it's like that little extra wrong you put on it. That's like, you're not even
That's my
looking
life.
at it.
Story of my life. So do that, and then next weekend we have Alpine. We're going to have some big things. We got people coming on for that, obviously. Tim says I can't mention too many names because I'll muddy the pool there, so to speak. And we got a lot of good
when
stuff
you announce
coming up.
guests for the next 15 shows, people just tune out. They're like, all right, Kev, we'll tune in. I get it.
Yeah. So I did good with that. All right, so second set.
Wait, I want to start
Oh,
plugging
plug.
too. September's a big month. We're going to have the 4th. I can't believe we're to the 4th now. The 4th annual Wookie Awards is in September, so everybody should get excited about that. And then we're also, I guess, the next day, the next bracket, for those of you who haven't heard, the Grateful Dead show bracket. So we're going to put the best shows of all time against each other.
Who are you doing that with?
Wait, I have questions.
Okay.
If we're doing a Grateful Dead show bracket, are you still going to have days where there's like 4 different rounds of voting? Because I'm
Can you release that list of who's in the bracket?
I'll release the bracket before the voting starts, and the voting's going to be 48 hours. There'll still be matchups will be released every day, but they'll overlap, so you have 2 days for each matchup to listen to the shows.
Are you collaborating with anybody on that?
I am with Julie. I don't know her last name or her handle. Is it
Cubs Girl?
Yeah,
I think there's numbers after it, but Julie,
big deadhead and funny as shit.
Wody
really
winner last
passionate,
year.
so.
Wody winner last year for Comic Relief.
Not Wody, Wookie Award winner.
Wookie Award winner, yeah.
Right.
Sorry, I fucked that up.
It's all right, it's your thing. You want to go to the second set?
That's why I get paid the medium bucks. Yes. So we got what I. We opened up with what I call the suite when they do the 3 parts together. I think that we all have thoughts on it. Tim, I'll throw it to you to start.
I love a standard groove, a Mike's groove that it hits with the hydrogen, and especially with how much they've been playing with it as of late. And I don't know, I'm not a super old jaded vet, so maybe correct me if I'm wrong if it was always like that, but I feel like there's been extra manipulation of it, breaking it apart. And I liked just having a standard.
The backwards, the one they did the backwards.
They
did the
one,
week
the
one
split
night.
overnights one. I won that just a couple years ago. The Mike's ass-handed groove. There's the contact groove. I saw you know what I mean? Like I don't remember, but like I feel like there's been so many different types of grooves, except for just like give me a straight hydrogen.
Regular old.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
it
feel
was
like they've been
fun.
putting something else in the middle lately. Like I feel like
Yeah.
there's a simple in there.
Yes, that
Yeah,
was
there was
huge at
that.
one time.
Yeah, it
Every
was
time
nice
you
to
got
get it
mics, at one time
standard.
you got a simple. Every
Yeah,
time.
thanks.
Yeah, but I like this one, and I thought it was a strong way to start the second set. It wasn't particularly
I'd like
jammed
to see
out, but
them, give mics the 4.0 treatment. And,
Right. They're all mini mics. It's like the
Yeah.
mini mic, It's 7 minutes. You're like, there's just you start getting to, it starts getting good, and they're like, all right, boom, we're gonna drop it into My Soul the one time or whatever, or Hydrogen tonight or whatever it happens to be.
I'm fine with the mix up. I
Mhm.
don't have any particular sandwich needs, but
Right.
I'm a
the-
picky eater.
in reality, I am a picky eater. But like for my mics, I don't. I'm happy with a lot of different choices there, but I would like to see him jam the mics part of it. I thought the groove tonight was really nice, and a lot of them recently have been, particularly Mike's like transition into the groove where he had the solo. He
Right.
really nailed tonight.
I think
And
that he practiced Hydrogen in his hotel room before he came out tonight. I think he ran through it a few times, made sure he knew it, which I appreciate because it's a beautiful little piece of music and you want it played. It's one of those things you want to hear the way it is. And if he messes
I'm
up.
talking about like the right beginning of the groove though.
Oh, okay.
Where he
Right.
busted out. He has that little solo part,
Yeah, that was sweet.
Dope. I love it.
and he nailed it.
He
Mhm.
nailed it.
Did you guys hear last night? Well, I know, Benz, you said you didn't listen last night, but I feel like there was a point, I might have just been imagining it, where they almost winning the Wikipedia last night, or like he was playing that, like Phish was playing the groove, and like it felt like it was about to go into it.
There was
I
a
don't know.
Midnight Rider jam at one point.
Yeah, that was a Midnight Rider. I didn't catch the groove. They were touching on all kinds of little things last night, though. It was quote night.
It felt like this was in their fingers, like just waiting to come out. I don't know. Maybe that's just the
They
rotation
find
of it, but
they find their way there a lot though, because I think again it's a comfortable thing. Like the
Yeah.
Runaway Groove in Arkansas, and then they did the one
Yeah.
earlier this year that they ended up just doing it with the backwards mic.
Mike, you need to help these guys out.
Okay, you can pretty much go with whatever you want on my name. It's you can go Ixothial, Ixothial, or
What do you
as
prefer,
John
or
and
how do
Sarah have called me Iha.
That's
It's
like
made up
Central
name,
America
so-
says it like that, right?
Yeah, it's
Iho.
kind of like an Aztec, like base name was the idea. But it's
Nice.
completely made up. So
Nice.
I didn't really.
I always
have
go. I always go with
Very
Ixo because I didn't know
Ixo
which
is
way to go in the
fine.
end.
Ixothial.
You can go on the 2 and the 4 and go Ixothial, or on the 1 and the 3
Ixothial?
and go Ixothial.
I feel like in Barcelona or whatever, like if you know that type of Ixothial.
All I was going for was something vaguely Aztec, so you're
Yeah.
right on with that.
Nice.
All right,
nice.
what-
All right, we're at Wave of Hope. I'm going to throw it to you, Benz. It's my favorite thing in the world these days. What do you think about it?
I like Wave of Hope. I will probably get canceled in many ways for this, but like I can't, when it's happening, I can't identify it. I cannot be like, oh yeah, this is a Wave of Hope. Of course they played it on a beach show though. But it was great. It got a little what was it, like edgy and kind of darker
Evil.
jam, which was great. Yeah. So which is funny to have some evil in
Pretty
your
evil.
hoping, but it
Right.
can be like that sometimes.
The evil wave. What you got,
Yeah,
Tim?
I agree.
I like the lyrics of this song. I know on a couple of these after shows we were all being weird nihilists and being like, "Oh, the world's coming to an end. How dare you have fucking hope?" But just being in the moment and listening to it, and maybe it's the hope of the awesome jam that's about to come out of it. But like this
I
too
think-
shall pass, and then we'll get some raging jams, and it just I don't know. I like the lyrics, and even more for me, I love the jams we've been getting out of it this year, and tonight was another stellar Wave of Hope.
I really think Trey has turned a corner with his lyric writing with that. I don't know if it's a one-off thing that happened, but if you look at the actual verse, not the chorus part, the one verse in it, it doesn't rhyme. You could pull that out and say it was
It's not sophomoric at all, is it?
No, it isn't. It's very it's brilliant the way he connects it with the song. It's almost, I can't say rhythmic because it isn't like a kind of thing, but it plays the
but it has a
prosody
cadence
of it.
to it.
Right, the musicality of the words play against his guitar, which is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Deer Creek one
is the best one. Yes.
Yeah. Tonight's a lot.
Yeah, tonight's. I think the weakest one was Merryweather's, and that was the opener.
And that was still really good.
And that was still really worth a listen. It's going to have a jam chart.
Wave of Hope is another one that keeps coming up a lot this tour.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think before the tour, I said they were going to lean into
I'm okay with right now.
All right, I said they were going to lean into it. After the one at Deer Creek that was what? It was You Enjoy Myself, Wave of Hope, whereas tonight we got Wave of Hope into You Enjoy Myself. Ixo, what you got?
Oh, well, I'm going to jump right to the second jam. And it really...
Wait, I want to start in the beginning, though. So can I say something about the beginning so we do it
okay,
and then you talk about the end?
Yeah, sure.
They did a segue into Yem tonight. Oh, no, fuck. They did a... I don't know, man. They did a segue. It's like the drop, right? The mid-jam drop into a new song. They did it last night with MoMA, which I forget what it came out of, but it's just like, it feels like you just turn the channel and you go from one jam, the next beat of the next bar, you're dead right into the next song. And I actually have no idea how the fuck they pull it off, right? Like, I imagine the beginning of Yem is difficult to play with a guy being like 1, 2, 3, and nailing it. And they don't even have that. They're just like, boom, they're in it. So I love that transition, and I think it set up the Yem to be a really good, phenomenal Yem. All right, Ixo, sorry. Now, if you're going to go to the end, I just wanted to say
yeah, there's a lot of goodness in the early part, and the vocal jam was interesting, but
I think Trey had a little extra, right? The section before he drops out and Mike does the bass, I think there was a little extra in that tonight.
Yeah.
And Mike shined as always.
But yeah, for me, it was that second jam where they just kind of fizzled all over the place.
It's such a cool way to set up a jam, too, coming out of the vocal jam.
It is. And it saves you from...
I thought it was a great Yem. I felt a little surprised to have it in the second set after we had just had a Fluffhead in the first set. Those feel like two monster songs.
Definitely.
I mean, maybe they are often played in the same show. I kind of feel like they're not.
I don't think so. I think you get one or the other. Like I think where you're kind of going with that.
Yeah.
I don't know the stats, but it feels strange to me.
And a Mike's groove seems big too, like as a suite. I feel like we got a lot of big, like tent pole type.
Well, yeah, the
That's
Mike's
AC
groove was,
too. I feel like they treat this, like, since they haven't had their festival in a while, I feel like they treat AC kind of like a special weekend.
Right. The Mike's groove Wave of Hope, You Enjoy Myself was almost an hour.
Oh wow.
So
pretty awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty fucking awesome. And I agree totally that the coming out of the vocal jam is phenomenal. It just gives new energy and new life to.
And it doesn't end the set. It doesn't create a lull. You're in music, so you can go anywhere. But where are we going to go? We're going to go with Susie G one more time.
It was too predictable before. They were going to the same place all the time.
Yeah.
So changing it up, it's good.
Susie was awesome.
A lot of people like it. I'm surprised the song hasn't been canceled due to the venom in the lyric towards the person in the song.
I don't know.
A lot of good songs with venom in the lyrics.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, does anybody really care about Phish lyrics? But then, yes, people do care. You know, it's funny how you get these really great ones, very profound, and then you get something like Susie that's
Double
a
shit.
little
Right, a little much.
silly. Yeah.
And
If
then
you want
we
to support the channel, by the way, I saw the tip jar. Go to wookplus.com, buy some merch, or you can actually buy stickers on YouTube or future chat. We have a lot of good content coming up in the fall, and we are trying to create some budgets. So sorry, I didn't want to do that plug, but I saw the tip jar and I was like,
it ain't cheap to do this. I'll tell you
I
that.
know.
Besides even the time investment, even beyond that, we have a lot of inner things that need to keep going.
All the lobbying mail we're getting for Ben's campaign to be Wody alone. I mean, paying our intern to go through that mail.
Wait, we're
Shit.
paying the interns now?
You guys have been keeping a vigorous schedule.
It's hard to hold on to interns these days.
It is. It's hard to keep a good intern.
Man, you
Right.
should see what I'm paying for Secret Service.
Holy shit, I can
Right.
imagine.
So then we ended up with waiting in the Velvet Sea and First
Yes.
Tube.
The 100th waiting,
The 100.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
which is very special, and I think that
Is
they
it?
knew that going into. I think they planned that to be the encore of
Oh,
night
wow.
3 for a long time because the ocean show, the AC show, Waiting in the Sea, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I love it.
Do you
Such a
think they
sweet
knew
way
that
to
it was
end.
100th? I don't think they know. I don't think they know.
I'm with you,
Exo.
I think we know that. I think they knew they were at the shore and wanted to play it because they're on the shore.
I
But
think they would know that. Yeah, not like, oh, this is the 70th. Like, I don't think they have running
I
numbers.
think
from
there's
them, but
people on the staff that probably know that. But
yeah, that's what I mean. Somebody probably mentioned it to them, and I don't think they are opposed or like, you know, completely blocked off from that stuff. Somebody mentions it. I think if it's
Yeah, I mean,
interesting,
somebody
it'll
might mention
pique
it,
their
but I don't think they
curiosity.
geek out about that kind of stuff the way that we do.
No, I don't think that they initiated. I think somebody mentioned it, but I definitely think that they knew it going into the show. However, they found out somebody mentioned it. I don't know, maybe not, but it's all speculation.
Suspicious. So let me ask you,
I'm with
Ben.
you on like they played it because they're at the beach, but whether
They were
knew it
super
was
heavy-handed
or
with
not,
that, but I wonder if Phish just has a shit ton of ocean songs, because
They
there's a
do.
lot. Like,
There's a lot
It
of
does seem
songs
like
with
it.
water.
A lot of oceans and water.
Well,
you could
speak-
just win Osiris's thing
now I
by
wanna
doing
look
it
at
for every
their-
song.
Now you got me wanting to look up all their astrological signs.
But
Like, why
speaking
are there
of
so many
water,
songs?
speaking of water, let me hear your Pine Knob story because I know you were there.
Oh,
How was
true.
it sitting
I
in the
was at Pine
rain
Knob.
and
I mean, I'm not a fan of rain. I was just psyched we got a show because I really thought I was watching the lightning.
you were like, this ain't happening?
I was like, there's no way they're letting all of us in here. I mean, I kind of didn't care. I had pavilion seats, so I was like, I don't care how much it rains, I'll be fine. But
Excellent.
yeah, we got a show. I was psyched to get one at all. I think the rain definitely shifted a lot. It was only one set, different kind of vibe going in. I was glad they didn't do a set break, and I was glad that they kept the songs like there weren't that many ballads, I guess.
Right.
No, it was
Kept
right
it high
wall to
energy.
wall.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to sit down on the lawn in the rain.
That and like we just waited so long and everyone had been so cooped up in their cars and
You don't
know,
want to
there's-
waste any of the real estate you have left. You
Yeah.
gotta get every second out of it, and I think they did. I feel like everyone I talked to that listened to it on Couch Tour thought it was a highlight, like one of the highlights of tour. But a lot of people I talked to that were actually there, I think the energy of the night and the expectations and all the baggage that went with it,
Right.
they're usually less positive about it than the
And
people
you're used
that
to
watch
your
it.
show. You're used to your show. You go and you have a first set. You get to hang out for 45 minutes with your people. You get a whole nother set. All of a sudden, you're there. Hey, thanks, guys. Can't stay here.
Yeah, but
It
I do
definitely
like the
felt-
long set though. I gotta say like that because I there's nothing I hate more than when you're like just in the zone ready to experience it and then separate comes and you're not, you know what I mean? Like it sneaks up on you sometimes. And I feel like those extra long sets are great because It's like every time they come out with another song, holy shit, it's still going, right? Because you're like you build up
This has to be the
certain
last
muscle
one.
memory. You're like after an hour and a half, hour 15, you're expecting it to end, and they just keep going and going. It's so
My
much
legs
fun.
are expecting it to end at that point. They're like, what the fuck,
That's when
dude?
Kev starts meditating. You
That's
sit
when I meditate.
crisscross crisscross applesauce with your hands up.
And you are going to be at Alpine and Dick's, Ben's, hanging out?
Yes.
All
Yes,
right,
I
well,
will.
you got to make sure that you find us. We're gonna have something going on at Dick's in the parking lot. We will not be broadcasting live again, but we will have flags and
Oh, okay.
stickers and
candy,
candy, maybe
music.
bottles of water, music.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot party each day.
It's gonna be, and we
Be
might have
awesome.
some other stuff going on. We may do something live, but it won't be on our own.
Yeah, I think we're gonna sit in with HF Pod. Or
We are gonna
we're not
sit in with
announcing
HF
that
Pod.
yet. I don't know.
This is
Maybe
the
I wasn't supposed to
off-record
announce
portion
that
of the
yet.
show.
No, I think we talked about it when we were with them
Nobody's
before
watching
tour.
anyway.
Hey, the 32 people
I'm-
out there.
I'm psyched for Dick's. I'll consider the Wook Plus tent home base, kind of like we did at Deer Creek, which I thought was wonderful.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
like
great,
easy.
and it's cool to have people come and go, and everybody watching. You're all invited, and even if you're not watching live and you're watching this on YouTube after, consider the Wook Plus tent your home base. at
And the
Dick's.
best way to remember is to like and subscribe.
And look for the flags. All right,
Yeah,
did
look
we,
for the flags.
and we didn't talk about the end of the show though.
We'll talk about.
Oh, we
the
talked
first
about
two.
waiting. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, we
didn't
talked
talk-
about waiting, but I love that they gave the proper ending to the run, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes they do the sweet sentimental end, and then that's it. And the first tube is the pinnacle of ending a show, and I thought it was incredible.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree.
Did he do it? I was
it.
listening. I wasn't watching. Did he elevate his guitar tonight? I feel like he always does. He has to, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't he do it at the end of every show, regardless of the song?
No, I feel like it's
Right.
first tube.
It's
usually.
first.
Oh,
It's a
maybe.
first two theatric. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the feedback.
Which
That's
is
all.
a good thing.
That was
All
it.
right. Tomorrow, HF Pod, 1:00. Brian Weinstein from Attendance Bias. Next week, play the music.
I'm
next
working
week-
on it, dude. You didn't give me a chance. You just like boom. Come on,
Have
you
a good
can't
time at
ban. You've
Alpine
been
and
doing
Dick's.
this.
Next week, the lot. We got Michael Goodman from Eggy.
Eggy.
I did that damn shit last night too. Michael Goodman from Eggy one, and then for the after Phish after show, we're gonna have fan sets and Keith Bourget's Ghosts.
Like it's, all right, guys. Thank you.